Hey guys, welcome back to 25 Sweetpeas. Today I have a brand new swatch video for you, and this time we are swatching the new China Glaze Fashion Week 2018 collection, which is their fall collection for the year of 2018. It consists of 12 really fun shades, so let's get right into the swatches because I'm excited about these. First up, we have Mustered the Courage, which is exactly what you think. It was a goldeny mustardy shade. This is a complete cream. There's no shimmer or anything. And as you can see, it has a really nice formula. So there is one coat of Mustered the Courage. Now it's time for the second coat. This is fully opaque in 2 coats. And as you can tell, it does have a really good creamy formula. And from the best that I can tell, this does not stain. I will say that when I wore it, I did wear 2 layers of base coat just in case, because these types of colors have a track record of staining, but from the best that I can tell, this one it does not. But if you are super concerned about it, I would just double up on base coat just in case. Now we're moving on to a shade called Throwing Suede, and this is kind of a off-white, kind of leaning towards a blush shade. So it's a little pink toned white, I guess you could say. There is one coat. As you can tell, it is a little transparent in a few spots, but the second coat should resolve that. It is time for our second coat of Throwing Suede. I feel like the names in this collection are super fun and kind of punny. So if you're into names, you might like this collection just for its names too. So there is 2 coats, and it does bring us up to full coverage. Next up is the gray in the collection. This one is called Pleather Weather, and this one it does have a matte finish, so you kind of have to work fairly quickly and keep it to minimal brush strokes. So it is a bit sheer and see-through on that first coat, but it will be completed in 2. But we have to let this dry down so you guys can see that matte finish. Okay, it is now kind of dried down to its matte finish. It's actually kind of more of a satiny-like finish when you really look at things. So I will show you both matte and the shiny, because I did do a shiny top coat for photos as well, so you guys could see it. I personally like this one better shiny, because I feel like whenever it's like matte / satin finish, the camera hates it and it just doesn't want to focus. So of course, the shiny picture that you will see in today's blog post is a bit more accurate to what it would look like in real life. Now we are moving on to a fun blue shade called Sample Sizing Me, and this is kind of like a happy blue. One of those, I don't know what they call it, but you would see it in a traditional scarecrow vibe decor thing. And it's just a really nice shade of blue. So there's one coat, and as you can tell, that is actually full coverage in 1 coat, but we will go ahead and do 2. But in a pinch, you could be done at this point. It's now time for our second coat, and I really do enjoy this blue. Again, I don't know if this one stains. I don't think it would, but just with any of these, since they are so highly pigmented, if you feel like they possibly could, or you feel like you just definitely don't want to deal with the staining, double up on base coats. That's what I've gotten so used to doing on more pigmented polishes, just to be on the safe side. So there is 2 coats of Sample Sizing Me. Next up, we're moving on to a green shade, and this one is called Central Parka, and it totally makes me think of the Central Park just because of the name, which I just love. And this is the great olive / mossy green. I've always called this type of green a mossy green, but it seems like right now everybody's calling it olive. So whichever you want to call it. And there is 1 coat. This has super great coverage, and if you were going to be doing art on top, I would say leave it here and be done and put your art on next. But if you're going to wear it alone, I would go ahead and do that second coat. So we will do that in just a moment. Okay, it is time for our second coat of Central Parka. I absolutely love this green. I didn't know how I was going to feel about it on the nail, but I absolutely love it, and I Actually, I'm currently wearing it on the rest of my fingers with some nail art, so be on the lookout for that soon. There is 2 coats of Central Parka. Now we are on to the last cream that I will be showing you today, and this one is called You Don't Know Jacket, and this is like a super dark navy blue. So I'm hoping it's color accurate. I feel like this is one that from afar some might mistake for black, but it is a really gorgeous navy that has a great formula. As you can see there is 1 coat, and that is full coverage. If you want to make it a tad bit darker, we will do that with a second coat once the first one is dry. Okay, we are going to go ahead and put on our second coat now, and again, this just has such a nice formula. This does dry super shiny as well too, so overall, this You Don't Know jacket is a great navy blue option. This next polish is called Swatch Out, and this is a gorgeous coppery shade that also has some like really good silver glitters in it that really kind of just pop and make the polish super fun and unique. I don't believe I have any polish quite like this, so I'm super excited about it. And I'm really enjoying copper this season, so I'm pretty excited about it. As you can see, that had great coverage. That is basically full coverage. If you want to see what happens with a second coat, or you just like the feeling of having 2 coats on, you can definitely do that. But there is 1 coat, and it's kind of amazing. It's now time for our second coat of this beauty. And as you can see, it does not really change the color or anything. And also one thing to note that even when I feel like I'm getting a like brush stroke, it really kind of just dries and levels itself out, and there really aren't any brush stroking issues with this polish. Overall, I'm just super impressed with this polish and very happy about this shade. It's just different and fun, and I'm really liking it. Again, this one is called Swatch Out. The next polish is called Chic Happens, and this is kind of a lavendery silver. It's like super hard to describe, but I would definitely say it's leaning towards silver, but it's got like this lavender tone in it that just makes it fun. This one, the strokes are a little more apparent than they are in the copper, but really they do kind of level out as the polish dries. And as you can see, it had a great formula and it went on really nicely. It does need a second coat, so that is what we are going to do right now. And again, I am really impressed kind of overall with this collection and their formulas. I feel like the formulas were very consistent. There was no polish that was a pain to work with. And overall, I'm just really impressed. So there is 2 coats of Chic Happens. Next up, we have a polish called Best Friends, and this one is kind of hard to describe. It's kind of like a gunmetal shade, but it kind of also has a tone of green in it, like an evergreen green, but it's not like super green toned, so it's kind of just hard to describe, and I made a little mess. Sorry about that. There is 1 coat. As you can see, it does cover really well. You do definitely need a second coat. So we will let this first coat dry and see what happens with the second. Okay, it is time for our second. And one thing to note about this one is that the sparkle or shimmer, whichever you want to refer to it as, and this one is super strong and you get like a lot. It just looks really pretty and I want to say sophisticated, even though I don't feel like that's quite the right term to use. It just looks really nice on the nail, as you can see, and it has a great and easy to work with formula. So there is 2 coats of Best Friends. Now we're moving on to the only red in this collection. This one is called Haute Blooded. And fair warning, this is a matte shade, which I did not know about until I put it on. Probably help if I had actually read the descriptions of each polish, but I didn't. I just wanted to, see what they were as I put them on. So you do also kind of have to work with this one fast. And as you can see, I went back to fix that little side and it did already start to dry. So it can kind of create these like balding spots on your nail. So you do have to worry about that and be a little bit more mindful of it. As you can see, this one is literally drying as we talk. So it does dry really fast. But we will see what happens with the second coat. Okay, that first coat is definitely dry, and it dries so quick. I mean, I guess that is an advantage to a matte polish. You can definitely see when it is dry. So we're going to apply our second coat, and in my swatches, I will show you both versions, meaning matte and shiny. I personally like it shiny because this polish has a lot of good shimmer reflectiveness in it that I feel like really shows well with the shiny top coat that you kind of lose on the matte, but at the same time the matte finish does look kind of velvety and fun as we transition into winter, believe it or not. So I see how this one could kind of be a crossover shade from fall into winter, you know, Christmas vibes. So there is 2 coats of Haute Blooded. And again, with this one, I don't know if it stains, but since it is so highly pigmented, I would be a little bit careful about that. Now we're moving on to one of my favorites in this collection, and it is called Pay It Fashion Forward. This is the purpley shade that is also super not glittery, like micro glittery, as you guys are going to see here. I'm sorry about that fuzz. And it is just so pretty. It applies really nicely, as you guys just saw. And there's so much going on in this. You get like some red, you get some blue, and obviously you get the purple. And it is just so pretty. I feel like this doesn't look like a normal mainstream polish, which I think is super exciting for the mainstream world because this has more of an indie feel to it, and I'm absolutely loving it. So there is 1 coat of Pay It Fashion Forward. Now it is time for our second coat of Pay It Fashion Forward, and I am just absolutely loving it. I'm definitely going to have to wear this one in the near future with some nail art. So if you guys have any ideas as to what you would like to see nail art wise with this one, let me know in the comments and we will work on that. There is 2 coats of Pay It Fashion Forward. Next up and lastly, I have Aut-umm I Need. It's spelled out differently, so I will have that in the corner for you guys. And this is kind of like a maroon-based, brown, jelly-like feeling polish that has some gorgeous shimmer in it that pulls gold, blue, and green. And it is quite lovely. It is a bit sheer and transparent, which kind of gives it that jelly feel. So there is 1 coat, and we will apply the second one in just a bit. Okay, it is now time for our second coat of Aut-umm I Need. This probably looks super dark on camera, and I mean, it is really dark in real life, but it's definitely more maroon brown-like, and it is just such a gorgeous and unique polish. It is very similar to the Pay It Fashion Forward, like formula-wise and glitter intensity shimmer-wise, but it is just such a pretty unique polish that I am currently really enjoying. So there it is in 2 coats. And that's a wrap. Here's a look at all of the polishes that you guys just saw swatched. I actually liked more of these than I did not. The only ones I didn't really care for were like the matte finishes, which really weren't, it wasn't me not liking the polish. It was just me not liking it's like meant to be finish. I would rather put on a shiny top coat and wear it that way. So overall, I'm really impressed with this collection. I think it's a fun range of fall colors, and it's not like overly orange, it's not overly red. There's something for everybody in this, which I feel like is a nice change from what we usually see in a traditional fall collection, which, like I said, I think it's super nice. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but I'm quite enjoying it. So these are available now on the China Glaze website, Sally's Beauty, Ulta, and sometimes in stores at Sally's and Ulta's, depending on the status of your Ulta or Sally's. I know my Sally's was getting it in, and my Ulta had the fake nails that go along with this collection, but I didn't see any of the polishes yet. So I'm sure that is coming soon. But anyhow, I will have all of the information you may need in the description box below, as well as a link to today's blog post, which has a full review and more swatch pictures if you want to check it out. And I think that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to head back on Friday for another fun video, and I will see you guys later. Bye!